Hello, guys, and welcome to the podcast that doesn't have it. It will have a name before you're watching this, but we don't have a name now. This is a gaming podcast that I'm doing with VTM here,
Hello.
and as we go along, maybe we'll have some guests. Then one day, maybe we'll be super popular, and we'll have no one because that'll never happen. But you never
I'll be
know.
super popular and leave,
Whew,
and we'll have no one.
whew. You hate to see it. Can you? Like, I really like what you're bringing, but that main guy, piece of shit. But anyway, what this podcast is about, a little bit of explaining. Like I said, right now it doesn't have a name. We spent about a week trying to think of a name, and every name we try to think of is either taken or we think it's garbage. So basically what it is we're going to do gaming reviews when applicable, and then also gaming news. What we'll do as we set it up is we'll do news first, which this week we only have one topic, and then this week we have two reviews, or I guess I have two reviews. VTM can chime in because he watched me play the other one on, and we can talk about that as we go along. Today's reviews are going to be Kakarot and Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. We'll talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. We'll talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 first and what we didn't think worked with it, and then we'll go into Kingdom Hearts Remind after that. So to start with the news, what we have this week is VTM. Do you want to announce the news topic here?
We got video game delays,
Mm-hmm.
just left and right, and it's kind of atrocious.
Yeah. So I don't think it's atrocious, but I think the games that have been delayed so far: Cyberpunk 2077, Last of Us 2, Dying Light, the Avengers game got delayed again, Animal Crossing got delayed, and so did Final Fantasy 7. I'm sure we're missing some. I know Doom got delayed till March, but these are more on the recent delays than Doom. See, inherently, I don't care about delays because delays allow the companies to actually, or the developers to actually fix the issues with the game, so they're not releasing it broken. The issues that VTM has with it, and I do too, is they they give out these release dates really early, not knowing if they can meet them, and then when they get closer to within like a few months of release, and they're like, we can't do it, so it gets delayed. So I feel like what they should do is just kind of not announce it.
It's like they announce these games and then they don't play test their games, and then they start playing. And it's like, oh, this is broken. We need the delay. And it's like, don't give us a release date then. Like, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take time, test your game, make sure it works,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't get a day one patch and then we have to still complain.
Yeah. With The Last of Us 2 is a special case because it got a release date. It did wait until closer to what they revealed as the release date, and then like a week later it got delayed. So I almost feel like something happened in the development that wasn't expected.
It probably has seen that they didn't want to put in.
Yeah, it's possible, but yeah, I just think these companies like. I mean, Cyberpunk waited too, but then Cyberpunk announced at E3 what the release date was, and I feel like even like 7 months out or however long that is still a little too much because you don't know what happens in development. I heard to use God of War never got delayed, at least publicly, and they actually got lucky on getting it out when they did, because the game came out in April, I think, and they said they didn't get the sound for the game until like the end of January.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like God of War, they announced super late.
Yeah, which is the way I like it. It's better. I mean, I guess Sony has this thing where they announce games, not the release date, but games, way too early. Like they announced Death Stranding like the day after Kojima signed with them. It's like he hasn't even done anything yet.
I think it should be like movies. Like, they should only announce it when it's close to done.
I also feel like movies are a little easier to keep a schedule on.
Yeah.
But Dying Light was more recent. We don't have Ubisoft. Watch Dogs 3 got delayed also, but all Ubisoft games got delayed because after Breakpoint came out and it was a failure, and The Division 2 came out and it wasn't a failure, but it was a disappointment because
it was a disappointment and buggy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's going to happen. They delayed because what Ubisoft did was they were using a lot of their same assets in the end games over and over again instead of making brand new stuff. So all of their games got pushed back, which is why Watch Dogs got delayed. That's why we're not getting any release dates in any other game. That Skull and Bones game got delayed. I'm sure them all. The next Assassin's Creed is rumored to be Vikings. It's rumored to be called Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. I'm sure that got pushed back a little bit, but I still expect that game to be out in like October or something. I don't know if there's any other Ubisoft games. There probably is. Ubisoft never stops, and I don't hate Ubisoft as much as other people do, but they do put out some shitters sometimes. Like I was talking to VTM about that.
It's kind of nice that they're going back to the board
Mm-hmm.
to maybe replace some of their assets and whatnot. Because it kind of reminds me of Telltale, how Telltale would refuse to like upgrade their system, so like each game would just have bugs because their previous system was just so buggy.
Yeah.
And it's like that they would be held back because they had the specific standard that wasn't working anymore. Where like Ubisoft has finally realized this, and they have to make an update.
And I think they actually did realize it with Assassin's Creed, because I actually really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Odyssey, even though other people got mad at the fact that it was like this really long game where they said, oh, you had to do all this stuff to get to this level to beat the game, and the grinding took forever. And I really think that boiled down to it, because there's a lot of grindy games that people love. I just think people saw that XP booster and they lost their mind.
Yeah, like, and again, XP booster is just something you can buy.
Yeah,
that's your own choice.
Yeah, which they make the game grindy. They say they make the game grindy on purpose to make you want to. But see, I had so much fun with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I never even thought about it. Not that I ever do. I never buy microtransactions.
Yeah. And like with most games that have an RPG element, it's like if you do side quests as you're going along, you'll probably be leveled up enough to handle most things.
Yeah, and that's another topic for a different day. I'm not advocating for loot boxes. They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Loot boxes can go straight to the deepest dark.
Same with mobile games, and because they started this shit, and also Blizzard, because they literally started this shit on consoles and PC.
Woo, microtransactions. Can't wait to buy the newest NBA game just to microtransact.
Yeah. Spin a wheel. For free! For free! For now!
For free?
For free for now.
Give me all the crappy stuff for free. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we just think they should wait, and I've always said this, they should wait, because I do think that it builds hype even more. Like God of War was really hyped because I think it was like in February, and they're like, the game's coming out in April, and you're like, oh shit. And that's why I was like, back when Bethesda was a good company, which wasn't that long ago.
We talked about it like it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
No, it was just recent.
Back, they used to do this at E3 all the time, like with Evil Within 2, great game by the way, and I can't remember what the other one was. Oh, the not the new Wolfenstein, but the new main one, the Colossus. They at E3 they announced those games, and they're like, yep, they both come out in October, and you're like, ah shit, here we go. That's like a 4-month wait. That's more hype to me.
Didn't CD Projekt Red just announce their release date for the Video Game Awards? I thought it was Video Game Awards.
No, E3.
Oh, because I thought they showed at E3 but didn't have a release date, and then Video Game Awards they announced. No. I can't forget Keanu Reeves saying, "Do you want to know when the release date is?" Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's breathtaking.
Oh no, that was Ghost of Tsushima that got announced.
Yes.
For its release date.
That didn't even get a release date. It said summer.
Yeah, summer.
So that's not really a release
As close of a release date as we can guess.
That's like a 3-month period.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
But anyway, that's small news for now. That's just a taste of stuff. We have more news. There's potential stuff coming up. I'm excited to do this because on the other podcast, if you haven't listened to it, Awkward and Doing It Wrong, it's in the playlist. Go listen to it. It is... Nicole doesn't know a lot about video games, so we don't really talk about it that much in there. We dabbled a little bit in the PlayStation 5 recently, but we don't do that. So this is the kind of podcast to kind of let me unload on this. And plus, I like the bitch, and so does VTM, so we're here.
I love the bitch.
Yeah, we'll try our best. When it comes to the gaming review section, well, me personally, I don't really like to nitpick too hard. But let's get into the reviews. We can start with Kakarot. Kakarot! Sorry. Broly. This game... I don't know. VTM, you go ahead.
This game is your basic run-of-the-mill Dragon Ball game. Like, it tells you the story of Dragon Ball Z, gives you some of your favorite moments.
Mm-hmm.
You get to start the game playing as Goku, hence Dragon Ball Kakarot. You get to play as his son, get to play as Piccolo sometimes, and Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this game's best strength is the fact that it's roaming. It's kind of it's an RPG, allows you to roam around the Dragon Ball world, which is something that everyone wants to do. Who doesn't want to fly and catch fish with your tails and just beat up bad guys? Like, that's it.
Having a tail up your
beat
ass.
up bad guys, yell at the top of your lungs while shooting beams out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what this game is. It gives you the story of Dragon Ball Z while adding the flair of CC2 with their cutscenes, which are beautiful in this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gives you your RPG elements. You get to level up, get the grind, kind of. Get your Zenkai boost.
Zenkai. Yeah, they do a good job of keeping you within the realm of being able to do stuff with through Zenkai boost and through transformations, leveling you up to where you don't have to do any kind of endless grinding. Because while we just talked about Assassin's Creed, grinding in this game, I would rather jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the positive. The cutscenes are fantastic. The ones that are there.
The opening for this game is actually really nice. It's like a really good callback to old Dragon Ball Z openings. That's something that I really liked right off the bat.
If they really wanted to call back, they should have done Rock the Dragon.
Oh God, I was hoping they would throw that in just randomly at some point.
Yeah, that would have been great. I would have loved that. I would have been sitting in my chair like Dragon. But
and something that this game can capitalize off of, since it's based off a story that's years old now, is that they can add a lot. Like, one of the first things that they add is, spoiler alert, they give you more story behind Raditz before he shows up on Earth, which I thought was one of the cooler things. And like, they do that throughout the whole story, is that they sometimes add or explain little things that people have nitpicked over the years.
Yep.
Which is something cool. Like, some people are complaining that they didn't need to explain some of this stuff, but again, it's like, damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing to explain stuff. Whether it needed to be explained or not, it's nice that they did.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to.
They put the effort in.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they get a sequel, hopefully they keep the same energy of adding.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get mad because they explained how Krillin got to bang Android 18.
Exactly. I actually like that. Like, a lot of the side quests are like that. They add more to the story. Especially in, like, they have segments called intermissions that take place in between the sagas. So it's like you have your Sand Saga, and then they have an intermission in between, so your slice of life stuff. And that's where you normally get a bulk of your side quest. Especially in the beginning of the game. The beginning of the game is very lacking on side quests when you're in the story
Mm-hmm.
until you hit the intermission.
And let's talk about the side quests more.
Let's talk about them.
More.
Okay.
The thing, we get into one of the negatives I have with the game, is they make, and sometimes they loop it in to tell more of the story, but that the fill in gaps. But the issue is some of these, and a lot of these side missions, is well, they're either one, you fight someone, which is fine, it's Dragon Ball, but you're always end up fighting like robots instead of fighting anything cool, or you're doing fetch quests, which makes up a lot of them. I can't remember what mission it was, but I had to go talk to like 8 people every time with a goddamn loading screen just for Popo to say, you gotta find me this mushroom or something. And I'm like, fuck you, Popo. I'm not finding you shit.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, and I did all the side quests to try and get a trophy. That's not in the game, sadly. But yeah, like, I'm someone who I think, 45 hours into the game, did all the side quests. And a majority of them are fetch quests, and they get very tedious. And like some fetch quests, like, and what they don't tell you in the game is if you talk to them again, they actually tell you where to go. So it's like they normally just give you the quest, and it's like, oh, go out in the world and find it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, go find 3 like blackfish, 3 redfish, 3 goldfish, and they're all in different locations over the map. But they initially don't tell you that unless you talk to the quest giver a second time. Which, who would know to do that, you know?
Yeah. And
I didn't think about it until, like, I was just sitting there. Because I wasn't paying attention. It's like, oh, I forget where I was supposed to go.
And also with side missions, like I've always advocated for this in Dragon Ball games. I talk about it all the time. I feel like they're side quest, they're disconnected from the main story, at least most of them. Yeah. Just like what I want the side missions to be, which is that's where you put your movies.
Yeah.
Your Janimbas, your all them.
Another thing this game really suffers is not adding Dragon Ball to it. Because it's like, if the side quest is not dealing with stuff that ties into the story, their side quests deal with things that happen, like characters that were in Dragon Ball. You reminiscing with characters that were in Dragon Ball. It's like, if you took those quests out and substituted them with movie quests, it'd be a lot better, because it'd be current instead of constantly beating you over the head that there was a series before this.
Yep. Absolutely. They could have done that. Like I said, they could have added, that could have been the main story, movies for side missions, because even though it was overall a more detailed telling of the Dragon Ball Z story than we're used to, it still felt like, and longer. I think this is the longest. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, by the time I got to Frieza, I had put in 9 hours into the game. It's like,
yeah. But even with all of that, it felt like it was lacking something. Whether you could do movies, I'm a stickler for this. You could have, in between Frieza and even though this is filler,
Frieza and the Cell.
Yeah,
you could have easily put in an intermission, maybe.
Yeah, well, they did put an intermission between Frieza and Cell, but what they could have done is they could have had Garlic Jr.
Yeah, they could have put the Garlic Jr. stuff in the intermission. Because they do have quests pop up only if you do specific quests. So it's like, you could have done the Garlic Jr. saga.
Yeah. And Kami's Lookout is fightable.
And have it be multiple missions.
And it's not like you can't go to Kami's Lookout in the game. And it's not like you can't go to Kame House in the game.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I feel like there's more. It always feels like, even in this, when the game is graphically, cutscene-wise, amazing, I just feel like it's missing something. And I'm not saying you need to have movie side missions and have these great cinematic cutscenes. You can have in-game cutscenes for all I care. All I'm asking for is you try. Instead of doing these fetch quests, you could have these movie side missions and actually put even more effort into it, or at least look like it. I know people are going to say, well, look at the main story. Look at some of these cutscenes. They did put a lot of effort into it. What I'm asking for, and I'm very picky about Dragon Ball, because I, as a Dragon Ball fan for 19, 20 years at this point,
Yeah.
I want the best Dragon Ball game possible. I don't shit on things and pick at things because I hate it. I want the best Dragon Ball game possible. And to me, if you put even more effort into it, if you give us movie side missions, if you give us the filler episodes in between, in the intermission, they gave us the driving episode.
Yeah, like they gave us pointless, like little small things from the anime.
And I love the driving
But
episode.
they couldn't give us movie stuff.
I have no issue. Leave the driving episode in there. I enjoyed that because I enjoyed that filler. It was funny.
And something I touch on like Twitter and all that almost every time I talk about Kakarot is at this point there's no excuse to not have like everything Dragon Ball related at this point.
Now
especially the older stuff. Super, that's a whole different thing. That's new, so maybe they don't want to touch it yet. But like everything that's old, everything previous Super, like there's no excuse not to touch on that.
Yeah.
At all. Like we keep getting all these games that are Dragon Ball Z games. I actually looked it up. We've had around 30 games that are Dragon Ball Z related, while we only have like 5 games that are Dragon Ball related.
Yeah, and it's like
that's insane.
Yeah, and as much as I talk about it, this may be my favorite Dragon Ball game, and that's just because I don't feel like there was as much effort put into the other one. It's not because I thought this one was a 10 out of 10. It's because I feel like there was more effort put into this game, even though there's issues, and we'll get into more of them, than any other Dragon Ball game, because other Dragon Ball games like Xenoverse just felt like they kind of tried, but not really.
Yeah,
like if you would have...
This one's kind of like the total package without dealing with multiplayer.
Yes, and that's what I mean. If that's what I think. If there's ever a Xenoverse 3, they should do that. Put effort into it. Get the people to help you. Put in cutscenes. So you're telling a brand new story. You can have brand new cutscenes that look like this game.
Yeah. All
I'm asking is to put effort, not parallel quests, not side mission fetch quests. I don't understand why they put so little effort into the side missions in every game. Sure, they give you little things to fill in the gaps, but when they're just standing there talking, that's not hard to do in a game.
See, and I've played previous CC2 games, and like one of their best games to me is Naruto Ninja Storm 3, where like at some point they caught up with the manga and they had to figure out a way to like close the game because they couldn't go off of what they had because it wasn't done yet. So like they came up with some of their most creative stuff past the manga and in their own way. And like the cutscenes that came with it were just amazing. It's like it blew it out of the water. They would have side quests that had cutscenes and whatnot. Like, and that game is what I compare this game to. It's like I feel like they could have tried more with the cutscenes because again, CC2 does not do bad cutscenes, and that's evident by this game. But it's like there could have been more added to it.
So let's touch on. I'll touch first because we have different opinions on this. I did not mind the combat. I know it was somewhat basic. I know the combos were somewhat basic, but I really enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed because you can try to string together other things if you're quick enough with your fingers.
Yeah. And they do have combo enders, which they don't explain at all.
No. But they're not hard to figure out, or even hard once you read it once. You're like, okay.
Yeah. So like you can press X or square or triangle on your PlayStation
after you hit
your combo.
After you hit circle a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, to end your combos to give you a special like combo ender.
And
but,
they do. Go ahead.
my main problem with the combat is like something that kind of harkens back to Dragon Ball Sagas.
Hmm.
Is their combo system was different. They added a heavy, so like you could change in between like heavy and normal attacks.
Hmm.
So it's like you press your circles and your triangles to attack, and they had like a more involved combo system where this is just button mash auto combo,
Hmm.
and then they have kind of like the Xenoverse way where like you press a button, it brings up your supers.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there should have been more. One thing I can say, like when you're fighting Raditz and he does that purple blast and you gotta go up and down to dodge him.
Yeah,
I feel like there should have been more moments. There was a few moments like that. I remember. I don't. Never happened when I fought as Goku, but when you're fighting as Trunks
yeah,
against Mecha Frieza, he throws that disc that he like his version of the Destructo disc, and I have to like snap vanish dodge as it's flying around the screen. More stuff like that
yeah.
where
Stuff
it's
that challenges you.
yeah, where you're dodging around or trying to avoid things. I did enjoy that, and that when I fought Raditz, I was like, okay, I can get down with this because they're actually doing things to actually challenge me, not to just
Yeah.
mash the button. I actually have to dodge these blasts.
And speaking of challenging, did you at all pick your difficulty setting?
Uh, no.
That's because there was no option. Like, there's a set option of no difficulty. Like, you don't get to choose your difficulty setting. I
Yeah.
think that this game like suffers for that. Like, if there were hard, then like boss fights would be even better. Maybe
Well,
casual fights
I
would be
think
better.
I don't know. I think a lot of people had issue with this game in terms of being they couldn't beat it. Maybe it was people never using healing items because they didn't want to.
Yeah, like
Um,
I used healing items a couple of times, but like throughout the whole game, I never died from people being too hard, except for the the
mhm.
villainous
Yeah.
enemies. But that was like the first time I selectively ran into them. Like I chose to seek them out, and I was like, oh, I can beat them. They're like 10 levels above, but I think I
Mhm.
could do it if I like grind hard enough.
Mhm.
So I tried at least twice and died, and just realized that they weren't going to let me beat them until I leveled up. But
Yeah.
that was the only time I ever died during this game.
Yeah. No, I never died. I wasn't quite as good. I did use healing items.
Yeah, and like I
I
said, I did use healing items, but it was only during certain points. But that's because my characters were so underleveled because they weren't main characters that you could play as.
The biggest nightmare was being Vegeta fighting Kid Buu at 10 levels below him.
Oh,
I did it
see,
though.
and like I said, I played every side quest, so I would play the side quest as I'm going along with the game. So like all my characters were just over level.
Yeah. Yeah. And um there was a like visually there were some moves like you have what was the name of Nappa's move where he moved his two fingers up and it blew up? I can't remember. It was the move I always used in Xenoverse and I should know the name.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Nappa bomb. Um it that move where he's like is gearing up and you have to like get out of the way or it blows up because if you get out of the area and look back at it and when it blows up it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Like a lot of the moves in this game look amazing.
Hmm.
They have a lot of small animations that also look amazing. Or like, uh, if you, what is it? I think it's if you beat a boss's charge up move. Like they have a little, like sometimes the boss will have a little meter that you have to deplete, and you can then do a follow up. It's like it's they have a little tiny animation for that that looks amazing and whatnot.
Hmm.
Or anytime you stun an enemy, like if you go into a special, they have special animations for that. But I found that I rarely would stun an enemy because either they die or they'd stay far away from me to where by the time I close the distance, their meter would have gone back up. There's only like there's only a couple of times I've stunned, and that was at higher levels and during the Rats fight where they made you stun them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just personally enjoyed the combat. Like, I never asked. I always, like, there were some moves that if you broke someone's guard, you had, like, a little mini scene.
Yeah.
Like, I had a scene where I broke, Boo was about to throw his little big Frieza ball.
Yeah.
And I broke his guard, and I just went up as Super Saiyan 3 Goku and just grabbed Boo by the face.
Yeah.
And just threw him. I love little scenes like that. I don't know. It's hard. I care more about the story content and what they do with that, with the side missions, with the main story. I think this game would have been better if they would have waited and just did Super, because it would have been more original for gaming.
Yeah.
But
because I don't think other than Xenoverse 2, I don't think they've really there's been no game that's actively put Super into their game. Like maybe Fighters, but you have to grind to unlock the super characters. Like you have to grind to unlock Super Saiyan Blue and whatnot.
Yeah. So
there's been no real Dragon Ball game to really include Super, and this could have been the first one because they clearly knew that Super was a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure up to what point that they knew.
I doubt it was finished by the time they started making this game.
Yeah. But because they at least knew up to the Trunks arc.
But I mean, let me say, if they make a game just like this and it's Super, I'm on board.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm never buying a story that, if you want to make me go through the Dragon Ball Z story again, there better be a fucking catch. There better be Dragon Ball involved. There better be Super involved. There better be all three involved, and you better have movie characters because I'm greedy.
Yep.
But it's actually not greedy. I'm just looking for
like I said before, like there's no excuse to not have all of it.
Yeah. I'm not being greedy. What I'm looking for is the definitive edition.
Dragon Ball experience.
Yes, but instead it's almost like Bandai's like, well, we can't do that because what do we do from there? We have to give them these games in chunks so they keep buying them. And
it's not even in chunks. They just keep giving us Z. Like
they do.
And again, this game forces you to know that Dragon Ball was a thing between its little collectibles and side quests and all that. And even the beginning of the game, the beginning tutorial on how to fight is against Piccolo, and even that's harking back to Dragon Ball.
Yeah. So let's move on and talk about the elephant in the room. And that is because a lot of people talk about bitching back and forth on social media and other things about the overall cutscenes. And what I mean by that is the absence of some said cutscenes.
For them, it's very weird that they would leave out cutscenes. It makes me think that they just that they just didn't see them.
Or they ran out of money. I think they ran. I played the Android Saga, and I know Boo had some incredible cutscenes, so maybe this isn't the case, but we don't know what order they made the game in either.
I'm thinking that the Boo stuff was something that was the ending of Boo was something that was probably already made.
Yeah, because you don't have to make a game in order, especially when you're dealing with Dragon Ball.
Especially if you already have ideas of what points you want to hit, you would probably set teams to hit these specific points.
Yeah. Because the Android Saga and / Cell Saga and it wasn't just the final Flash scene. I know that's what people making a big deal out of, mostly because it's a lot of people's favorite scene in all of Z.
Well, and one of my favorite scenes was the Warp Kamehameha, which they left out.
Yep.
So it's they left out scenes, and it's I don't know why.
Buff Trunks.
Or they left whole segments out, Trunks.
Yeah.
Or Trunks fighting Cell. They even left that out. Him transforming into Buff Trunks. They left that out.
Mm-hmm. So in the Android Saga alone, they left out Buff Trunks, Final Flash, Hellzone Grenade, Piccolo versus 17, Trunks going back to his future to kill the androids in his time, Warp Kamehameha, everything but the Super Saiyan 2 transformation and the father-son Kamehameha. I shouldn't say everything, but the big moments, that Android 16 going nuts was also, and Vegeta going nuts was in the game. Yeah. But they have these 5 moments that define this thing. The whole point. The Trunks going back to his time.
Especially 2 points was like, or 3, I guess, because like the Vegeta Final Flash thing was a statement point to show that Cell's on a completely different level.
Mm-hmm.
And Trunks fighting him was to cement that he was on a different level.
Yeah.
And that Vegeta was also smarter than Trunks. Like, Trunks thought he was so much stronger, but like really Vegeta was 10 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And Cell's 10 steps ahead of him. So it's like, that just proves how better Cell is.
Yeah.
Like, those are scenes that cement Cell as a real threat.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you need those scenes.
Yeah. And I know people want to ignore these and say, like, just accept the game for what it is, and that's fine. If you enjoy the Android Cell arc for what it was, more power to you. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't like. But for me, it sucked the air out of the balloon in that saga, because everything that I loved about that saga, outside a couple things that were in the game, they left it out.
Yeah.
It's almost like that arc was rushed. Because...
And see, I felt the same way while playing the Boo arc. Like, I felt like the Cell arc was a little better than the Boo arc, but I felt the Boo arc was rushed. Just simple things with the way they treat their cutscenes. Like, because they have, like, 2 different styles, or I guess it's 3, because, like, there's one where, like, there's no dialogue, but you still have to press X.
Mm-hmm.
To continue. So it's like they have that kind, and then they have like their basic in-game cutscene, and then they have their cinematic cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like for a lot of Boo, they would have their basic cutscenes.
Here is where
it's like they could have used their cinematic. Like, I felt like Boo's Extinction Wave could have been more cinematic instead of basic.
Here's where we disagree. We both played through. We both beat the game. He spent a little more time because he did all the side missions. I didn't do all the side missions because fetch quests had ended my life at that point. But I felt the opposite. I felt that the Cell Android arc was, for me, the weakest. And I'm not sure it was close, because at least, even when they were using the in-game cutscenes for the Extinction Wave, at least it was in the game.
Yeah, at least it was in the game. But I think the one thing that really made it feel like the Boo saga was unfinished was the fact that, like, they kind of cut out the roaming aspect. Like, once you hit a specific point, they just start taking you to the places.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because the Boo saga, like, they did that in other sagas where if something's dire, they wouldn't let you go to another area.
Yeah.
The Boo saga is kind of a weird one because the Boo saga always felt like something was dire.
Yeah, like they were taking you to the places. They didn't end the quest at a specific spot and be like, oh, now you have to fly across the world to go here. No, they teleport you. Had to talk to people.
There were sections where you could roam.
Yeah.
But
like something that some YouTubers hyped up and that they also hyped up for the game, Majin Vegeta. So you get to take control of him and roam around. And I'm pretty sure they had hyped up that you could play a side quest as him and all that, but you can't. Like, that's not
I think you can.
No, like, because if a side quest needs
maybe it was normal.
A side quest that needs a specific quest, like a specific quest character, then you could. But from my recollection from the Boo arc, there's no mission that you need Vegeta for.
Yeah, maybe it was normal Vegeta.
Because most of the time, like, you're not supposed to be like, Vegeta's always home training with his son, so like in canon, you can't control. Like, you have to control Gohan.
Yeah.
So, like, during the Boo arc, like, there's no option. Like, there's no side quest for Vegeta.
Yeah.
And that's something I felt like I was kind of let down by. I was like, oh, I want to play side quests as Vegeta. Like, that would be cool.
But listen, I think this is where we differ, because I thought that about 80% of the side missions were garbage. So by the time I got to the Boo arc, I didn't even care.
Yeah.
I didn't care about roaming around as Vegeta. At that point, I was so annoyed with the fact that most side missions were fetch quests that I just kind of played the story.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Just the standard of like, don't advertise something if it's not that way, you know?
Yeah. I just
Like something else that they talked about was like, oh, like your levels influence your speed. So like if you're a higher level, your speed is faster. And it's like, not really. The speed's kind of the same throughout the whole game.
mhm.
The
I
only thing that changes is your health, your um key bar, and how strong you hit, like how hard you hit. That's the only things that really change.
But off of the cutscenes that were missing, the cutscenes that were there
Yeah.
were great. The Vegito cutscene is one of the greatest cutscenes I've seen. Well, it is. The Vegito
It is.
cutscene, to me, is the greatest cutscene in any Dragon Ball game ever. And if somebody doesn't step their game up, maybe ever.
The Vegito cutscene is the equivalent of Gogeta showing up in the Broly movie.
Yeah, I think it's the longest cutscene in the game. I could
It
be
is.
wrong.
All right.
Um, I don't know how long the Gohan father
Yeah, I
son
was gonna say the
Kamehameha is.
Gohan.
But it's just the badassery. Just more cutscenes like that because it actually shows them the where they're flying so fast. All you're seeing is light clashes going across the sky, and then if Vegito throwing Boo towards the ground and then Snap vanishing to the ground and kneeing him in the face in slow
Yeah.
motion. Like the Vegito cutscene is
And
amazing.
it's like cutscenes like that. That's what I expect from
Yeah.
CC2. Just over the top greatness, like movie quality.
Hmm.
That's what they deliver. And it's like I expected more of that throughout the game. Like for more cutscenes to be like that, over the top. Like I expected them all to get the same treatment that Raccoon got.
Hmm. Well, the Namek arc in general was fucking fantastic. Like,
Yeah,
I thought we were going nine out of 10 territory when I played that arc. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah. But it's
incredible
like
stuff.
the same kind of quality that Raccoon or everything in the Namek arc guys. Like I expect that to be taken across the whole board.
Hmm.
CC2, because that's again what they do.
Hmm.
Them doing this specific style game like an RPG is, I think, the first time they've done it. Like, don't quote me on that, but that
It
was,
wasn't it wasn't a real RPG either.
yeah, it's not.
It's a Dragon Ball game that's really not an RPG game disguised as an RPG game, just so I can say it's an RPG
Yeah,
game. Um, because you're not really leveling up. Well, you are leveling up on your own. You can, but you're also getting help from the game leveling up also.
yeah. And, like most of leveling up is like you have to collect orbs, but then like the only time you need to collect orbs is starting off,
Hmm.
because eventually you just start earning so much.
And I've never been more sad than when I realized that the orbs respawn. Because I was
Yeah.
I was flying around trying to catch them all, like I was playing a Pokemon game that
See,
I'm never gonna play.
the orb system reminds me of orb system from another game called Gravity Rush, where they do the same kind of thing to get like skills and all that. You have to collect orbs,
Yeah.
but in that game they don't respond. So like you only have a set amount of orbs on the map
Hmm.
before you're out. But by the time you're out, you should have all the skills.
Yeah.
So that's
Um,
what it reminded me of, like just orbs in random places.
so overall, I know we shit on the game for a while. Overall, I did enjoy this game.
Me too. I
I
enjoyed this
I
game.
enjoyed it. It's just nagging things that I think it's not that like I want to shit on it. It's like I want the perfect Dragon Ball game, and in my heart,
I
I've been
want
saying,
it to be better.
in my heart, I've said movie side missions for like I feel like it's been a decade.
Yeah.
It
No,
probably has
it's
it since Xenoverse 1 for sure.
And another nitpick I have is not even really about the game. It's more like options, like quality of life. Like there's no graphics setting, so like the game the game has motion blur. You can't turn that off.
Yeah.
Or you can't remap any of the button inputs or anything like that. And I just thought that was weird. Like there's no difficulty setting. Like that stuff game could have benefited from, was like having these options for people who want to like have the game their way. Like I don't like having motion blur in my games because it makes games look bad, but there's no option to turn that off here.
Yeah.
Or I would have changed the button mapping so I don't have to have my melee as circle. I'd rather have circle be my key blast and have square be my melee.
The game also has a community thing where you basically, once you're done doing side missions or main missions, sometimes you get the character, and then each character has a particular skill that they're best at, and you kind of place them in that area. I don't remember who all the leaders are. There's Goku, Chi-Chi,
There's
Bulma,
Goku,
Roshi,
Bulma, Roshi,
Popo.
Yajirobe, Popo, King Kai?
No.
I believe he's training, is he not?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe.
He's
Yeah, he is.
He's
Okay.
the team captain of training.
Yeah. I was just mentioning that I never, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool when you put together characters that know each other and they have little dialogue.
Yeah.
I
Dialogue and power ups and whatnot.
So it just made me go around and start putting characters together and see if they. And I know there's a way to actually tell which character goes with which character, but like I was like, this is like a match game. I don't want to know. I'll figure this out.
Well, and like at least in my case, like at one point, a lot of the categories started falling off for me because it's like I didn't use them. So like Bulma is one development I never used because like it didn't matter for at least a majority of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Chi-Chi, I never made mills, so I didn't worry about putting people in the food community or the cooking community.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't worry about that. I worried like what would it enhance my skill in fighting, or like boost up my XP experience earn and all that.
Yeah.
So I would focus on those while neglecting the rest.
Mm-hmm. So it does have RPG elements. It's just with the leveling up system, it kind of, like I said, I didn't do a lot of grinding, and I was never underleveled because the Zenkai boost and the transformations make up for it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It makes sense. Zenkai boost and transformation raising your level. I mean, if it should.
Yeah.
It should not. Like I shouldn't be like 15 levels below Cell as Super Saiyan 2 Gohan.
And sadly, like some of the side quests, they don't level properly. So like Dragon Ball wishes, you can collect the Dragon Balls and make wishes.
Mm-hmm.
So specific Dragon Ball wishes are set at a specific level. Like they don't level up to you. So if you wish Nappa back, he'll be at like a level 20 when you're at like a level 50.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an easy stomp. And so it's like this game gives you the proper levels that you should have when I feel like it shouldn't at the same time to keep you properly leveled for side quests.
Yeah.
Because I think the side quests and some of the mission quests get really neglected from like them almost over leveling you.
Yeah. But at the same time, 99% of these side quests involve you punching 3 robots.
Yeah.
Or fetch quests, or both.
Yeah.
The ones that are both are a riot. But it's just like at the end, like you get to a point where you run into a human and they're talking, and you know you're gonna have to fight something because the human's gonna throw out something. Like everybody has capsules full of robots, the strength of Cell up their ass.
Yeah,
And
I never really explained that.
Yeah, what?
Kind of insane.
And I'm like, why are these robots so strong?
At least for like the Boo saga, when you start running into Babbidy's henchmen, that can kind of explain it, because like you can place the Majin Seal, which gives him more power. But like, even still, it's kind of insane.
That's another thing. Spoilers. Something I loved. I don't think it's ever. And if it has been a game, I don't remember it. I love that I got to fight Yakon. I know he's not a big deal, but it's different, and I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
And Pui Pui. I liked when they said they were going to teleport him. I'm happy they put him on another planet and we fought him on his planet. They didn't say it was his planet, but it was inferred, and we know it is. But I was like, I remember hitting record because I'm like, I'm going to record this because I know they're going to transport us to some plane or something. Like it's just going to be like one of the basic bitch maps, and they didn't. And I was like, you got me. I was ready to come unglued on you, and you. Good job. And they needed more of that. They needed more of that. Like, that map was only used for that part.
Well,
And
when they would, like, did you ever do any of the training room stuff?
any of the what?
Training room stuff, like with the new Ginyu Force member.
I did one.
Okay. So, like, they kind of do that for that, like,
Mhm.
where they transport you to some, like, random place.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah.
that's the only other time that think they do that.
Yeah, but like I said, overall, we'll wrap this up. It was, I enjoyed the game. It had issues. It was still my favorite Dragon Ball game probably at this point. A lot of people say Fighters. I'm not a huge fan of Fighters, but I'm not a huge fighting game fan. If you're gonna give me a fighting game, it's gonna be like your Mortal Kombat or your Injustices that has a story attached. I know I'm an asshole for saying that because most fighting game fans will be like, you're a fucking douche, but I don't know. NetherRealms makes good stories. I'm sorry.
We all like what we like.
Yeah.
We all have opinions.
Yeah. Oh, and we have them. But I think so. The way we're going to do our scoring system, 1 through 10, no decimals, because why would we do that? We got to be confident in it. We got to be confident in our whole numbers. I think overall, all the little things that we talked about throughout, all of the positives too, the cutscenes, some of the cutscenes were left out, but the ones that were there were beautiful. I did enjoy the combat more than VTM did. The side missions that did fill in the gaps were really nice. They probably involve a fetch quest or punching a robot, but the dialogue you get is really nice. It really fits that thing. And I hope maybe in the future we do get a game that has movie side missions like I want and stuff like that. But overall I enjoyed myself. I remember sitting there, and I think when the Vegito cutscene was going on, I believe the exact words I said was, "Holy shit." Because I didn't expect that, because nothing in the game had shown me that.
Yeah.
There was some, like, the Vegeta Goku Beam Clash in the Saiyan Saga was nice.
But everyone in every Dragon Ball game goes hard for that one too.
For sure, but this one looked prettier. So I think this is the prettiest one. Get on their level. But anyway, Overall, I think I'm gonna end up giving this game a 7.
Okay. I criticize this game as much as I did because I view it the same way I view Days Gone and how I criticize that. It's not because I hate it, it's because for the sequel, I want them to do better in the places that they didn't do that good.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, I did enjoy the game as much as you did. Like, I do have my problems with combat, but that's whatever. I've played games with even worse combat.
Oh yeah. The Quiet Man.
Yeah, like, the cutscenes, they were amazing, but that's what I kind of expect from this company. It's sad that things happen behind the scenes for the game that happen. I would have liked to see no interference. But with that said, like, this game is an easy 7 for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think capable.
It's probably one of the best.
Mm-hmm. And I think capable. I think capable of higher. I think it's capable if they gave us what we wanted, if they gave us the movie side missions I wanted, if they gave us
the easy give me's like Dragon Ball Z.
Not even that.
The movies had like again, like one of the highlights of the game for me were again side quests, like some of the side quest stories that tied in, again showing Krillin asking 18 out.
Yeah. Take Dragon Ball out of it, because I'm not even talking about that. Stick with Z. Yeah. If you just give me the cutscenes that that are the one that we were waiting for, like we're waiting for that moment because these cutscenes are so good. If you give us those moments, if you give us the movie side missions,
or
and you
give us the moments of Goku training another world, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but even if you don't do that, if you just give us, you could do that too, for sure. That could be your filler.
The game's called Dragon Ball Kakarot.
Yeah. Your filler, your filler in between Frieza and Cell could have been Garlic Jr. and your filler in between Cell and Boo could have been the other world. I agree. Easily. They could have done that easily. And then you could have had your movie side missions.
Yeah.
You know, this game could have with the cutscenes the way they were, could have easily been a 9 game or a 10 game.
Even in-game quests, they could have done a Janimba.
Yeah,
Why not?
if you stick with Z, and you do the movie side missions, you do with the cutscenes, you do all the stuff we talked about, you add the scenes, you know, you put all this effort and all this, like, you're like, oh my god, my head's gonna fucking explode, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
It could be an easy 9 out of 10. And I hope, and I know this company's good. I never played the Naruto games because I've never watched Naruto.
Yeah.
So
the Storm games are a good way to get in on the story of Naruto. That's the one thing I will say. Like, they follow the story very closely.
Okay.
And if you want to know the story of Naruto, play those games.
Okay. Maybe I will one day. I probably won't. But that is our thoughts on Kakarot. Now, moving quickly ahead.
Yes.
To Kingdom Hearts 3. We can talk about first Kingdom Hearts 3 as a whole. So, my issue originally, and VTM has some different issues that I don't have with the game, because I didn't mind some of that stuff. The last 10-15 hours of the game is rushed. Once you finish the Disney stuff, it is put your pedal to the metal, let's go, 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 which would be fine, except they ignored most shit. I'm surprised they had time to bring spoilers from here on out. I'm surprised they had time to bring Roxas back as fast as they were going.
Holy shit.
Like,
they were going fast, but they also padded out the game. It made no sense. Like, the pacing was ludicrous. It's like, we need to speed through the end, but we also need to pad out the end because we want longer playtimes. It's like, what?
Yeah, I think they. Oh yeah, they padded all. That game should have been twice as long. That thing where you're falling down, you have to save everyone individually, and then you have the things where you're catching the million Soras to put your body back together. And I'm just like, this is the most pointless thing.
It's like we're padding like that, but then they speed the story to quickly end it. It's like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like they break and then throttle at the same time.
Yeah, game just. It's almost like, I don't know. I mean, I know the game was probably in development. People are going to say 10 years. They're wrong. It was probably more like 5 or 6 years. But even in 5 or 6 years, you should be able to put something coherent together. I mean, I don't know how long Persona 5 took. And I know Kingdom Hearts 3 has more cinematic cutscenes, but I mean, Persona 5 has some.
Yeah.
But that game was like, I mean, it took me like 170 hours. I think I'm in the minority. Well, I think it averages at like 115 on that one on that How Long to Beat website.
I have not been Persona 5 yet. I've started playing it though.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah, great game.
But
makes me wish I was back in school.
yeah, makes me wish that My Heroes for another day.
Yeah.
But anime theme.
Anyways,
but back to Kingdom Hearts. I think they could have done so much better pacing it out to the point where they didn't need to have a DLC to help pace it out. Because I do think they thought they based on people's reactions, they knew they fucked up. They did too much go, 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 and not enough storytelling. Not enough giving you enough of these characters that you've spent, well, and with 3 of them, 1 game, but still, the Birth by Sleep story was by far the saddest.
Yeah.
I connected more with Ventus, Aqua, and Terra in 1 game than I did with Sora in 9. Or more. I don't even know. 9 games. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I
think it's just that a lot of people were looking at this game to be the game to end all of like this part of Kingdom Hearts. Like, we weren't looking for sequel baiting or anything. We were just looking for it to end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they had a lot of stuff to tie up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at the end they're tying it up quick.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I'm okay with the box. If you want to sequel bait and make the box the next portion of it with the Master of Masters, I'm fine with that. But you have to tie this story up correctly first. And they didn't do that in the initial game. They didn't do that.
I think the best way that they could have done the box was just be like, just don't have it tied in through the whole game, so people aren't looking for this red herring. Like, what the hell is this box?
Mhm.
Have it at the end. Have it be an end cutscene where it's like Pete and Maleficent. Like, I can't believe we went to all of these worlds and we could not find this box.
Yeah.
And then you have who is it, Zigbar, and he finds the box or something.
Yeah, because you know, or I know, as a person who watched the mobile game cutscene movie that came with the collection, I already knew what the box was. So when I saw trailers, and in the trailers they were talking about the box, I already knew what box they were talking about. The biggest issue is they talked about the box in the trailer like it was a main part of this game.
Yeah. And like even the game treats it like it's a main part, but it's like, no, this is sequel bang throughout the whole game, and it's kind of unneeded. That's why I say it could have been an end credit scene. Like if you had like Melissa and Pete out the whole game, then people will have noticed that. Like they would have been like, "Where's Pete and Maleficent? Like why aren't they in this the whole time?" And then at the end they showed them like this is what they've been doing. They've been going world to world looking for this box. So it's like, what the hell's the box? End of game.
Yeah. Even though, again, if you watch that cutscene movie, we know what the box is.
Yeah. Which I didn't watch, so I don't know.
It's actually a really good cutscene movie. Really good.
Yeah.
So, like, people are like, who are these characters walking up to the box and blah, blah, blah. And I already knew who it was. Like, I remember I just played the DLC because we're about to review it. And that cutscene happened. And I'm like, where's that orange boy at? And then he comes walking out. There he is.
Yeah.
I know these characters. I like the characters. And actually, if you watch that cutscene movie, that might be the second saddest story in the series. Oh, yeah. Because they're basically tricked into turning against each other, starting the initial Keyblade War.
Yeah.
So
again, we're talking about a story that's coming from a mobile game.
Yeah, but that should be something that people are used to at this point. That everything he makes is tied.
But that's kind of bad, though. Like,
it's bad.
I saw a lot of people complaining, like, again, like, they were like, oh, like, the Kingdom Hearts story is a mess because they expect you to play all these different games. They're on all these different systems. And it's like, not everyone's rich. Not everyone can buy all these systems. But then they did the HD remakes and all that, which they kind of include most of the games.
Yeah, but and then the collection includes all the games.
Yeah, so it's like, but I didn't know that the mobile game would be something that was in it.
Mm-hmm. Not only that,
I thought it was like a mobile game to tide us over until the main game came out.
So the mobile game takes place 100 years, I think, before Sora.
I believe so. It's supposed to be like the first Keyblade Wielders.
Yeah, and right? you try to answer me why Ventus was in that mobile game at one point.
Was he?
Yes.
See, I didn't know. I started the game up, I created a character, and then I instantly dropped the game because I was like, this is me. I
was happy to watch the cutscene movie, but that cutscene movie touched on the points I needed. But then again, I watched a lot of cutscene movies because 358 over 2 or 358 and a half, whatever you want to call it, days was only a cutscene movie. I was told not to play Chain of Memory, so we watched the cutscene movie. What was it? The Data Sora, I think, was only a cutscene movie, which was the worst game. I don't only watch the cutscene movie, but I'm happy I didn't have to play it. Yeah. So when I got to the mobile game, and I had to watch a cutscene movie, it just seemed normal to me.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't even know that there was a cutscene movie.
Yeah, there's a cutscene movie.
For a mobile game. That's what really boggles my mind.
No, but it's not mobile quality cutscenes. It's like a cutscene movie, and it's like a cutscene movie made with like Kingdom Hearts 3 graphics.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's like they made a Final Fantasy game that has cutscenes like that.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm intrigued by the characters from the mobile game because I don't know how they're going to do it because those characters are not villains, but something tells me they're going to be tricked again into thinking that Sora and all of them are the bad guys.
Yeah.
So
it's like they let the world fall into disrepair. It's like it's their fault.
Yeah, that is intriguing to me. I am ready for. I'm sure there'll probably be. I mean, there's a DLC. I'm assuming there may be one spin-off game before 4, because that's just the way Kingdom Hearts is.
Well,
But
look, we got like 5 in between 2 and 3. So.
but it's not really a spin-off. It's not really a spin-off game, as we all know.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, on to the DLC review. So this DLC basically fixes the ending, and I think it does. It fixes the ending.
See, when I first saw you start the DLC, I was confused because I thought, like, for me, it looked like you were just replaying the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, because they're adding.
Like, initially, my opinion was this DLC is not worth money when they just have you replaying all the ending boss fights, the boss rush, as one would say.
Again, spoilers from here on out. They let you play. You can play as Roxas. You can play as, eventually at towards the end of it, Kairi. You can play as,
You can play as Aqua.
You can play as Aqua, which you did play as Aqua once in the main game when you're saving Ventus, but you're able to play as Aqua. Not able. Technically, you eventually do play as Ven, but it's like in a box area. I can get into that later. But in the Keyblade, or the area where you're fighting all the Organization 13 members, you can't fight as Ventus, which I was sad, because I love Ventus because I love the way he holds his Keyblade. I don't know why, but he just holds it like backwards. I don't know. I like it. It's different.
It's like the Ahsoka way.
Yeah. I don't know. In that area, I think it's just Roxas, Aqua, and I think that's it.
Did you not play as Axel?
You play as Axel in the same area you play as Ventus.
Okay.
It's just you go from character to character towards the end of it.
And they dumbly give you the mistake of giving you the option to pick as playing as Sora during these moments. It's like,
yeah.
Who would want to?
Especially if you're comparing to Roxas, if you don't know, is my favorite character in Kingdom Hearts. Will forever be my favorite character in Kingdom Hearts. So you give me the option to play as Roxas. Did I say Axel? Roxas?
You said Roxas.
Okay. Roxas will always and forever be my favorite character. I think he should be the main character of the series. I think he's a much more compelling character than Sora will ever be. I think he is, his story, I know Sora's been through a lot, but like Roxas has been through a lot. Like he's
been through almost the same amount of a lot that Sora's been through, but he's learned from it.
Yeah. I have more connection to Roxas because his story overall is
his
that
character changes.
Yeah, he basically he came into this. He doesn't know who he is. He finally knows he's in the Organization 13. He's one of the Organization 13 members. He becomes friends with Roxas or Axel and somebody who we don't know, as we do figure out eventually, is Xion. And then he basically, Axel's story is sad too, because he loses Xion and then he loses Roxas, so he loses all of his friends. It's just
it's kind of like the story of Aqua almost.
Yes. Roxas, Axel, Xion, Ventus, Aqua, Terra. Much better stories than anything going on with Sora and his damsel in distress bullshit.
Yeah.
Like come on.
Said, like, Roxas is like Sora, but he learns from his experiences. Same thing with Ventus. He learns from his experiences. Like, he doesn't stay a stupid child the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they both have hope and all that, but, like, they understand that the world runs different.
Yeah.
Where Sora refuses to see that. Like, Sora is like, oh, everyone should just be good.
Yeah.
Like, love. Freedom. All that kind of jazz.
Yeah. So they add more scenes to Sexy Voice Xemnas.
Oh.
They add more scenes with Roxas, which was needed. Because in the normal Kingdom Hearts 3 game, Roxas had his comeback scene, and that was probably my favorite scene in the game, and then he never talked again. To my knowledge, he never talked again in the regular game. After
doesn't he get knocked down, and then Sora does all that jazz?
No.
Terra, and then that's pretty much the end of.
No, I don't. Ventus never talked. Well, yeah,
Or yeah, Ventus.
they
Sorry.
never. They had more talking scenes with Ventus and Aqua. They had more talking scenes with Roxas in there. Not a shit ton, not as much as I would like, but they still had more. They
Yeah.
gave you this scene where towards the end where all these people join together, whether Mickey, all the Keyblade, Riku, Axel, Ventus, Roxas, all of them join in this
They
one
join
group.
together for a spear bomb,
Yeah,
bringing it back to Kakarot. All
yeah.
right.
And they're fighting off these. I don't know what they are. We'll call them Dementors for this.
I was gonna say the mentors.
And they, um, and one at a time, they're fighting them back. They do these super moves. They do these cool moves. You go back to earlier when you're fighting the organization members, and Aqua and Ventus have this finisher move where it looks like Ventus is riding on. It looks like he's riding on his Keyblade, like he's riding a skateboard, and it's like ice, and it's a really cool looking move. Um, they added a lot to where it's like if this just would have been the ending to begin with. You had this cool scene where Mickey's trying to get to this key door, and he's trying to fight off those Dementors, and trying to get there to try to save everyone. And it's a great fucking scene. It reminded me of that Mass Effect 3 scene where Shepard is walking slowly trying to get to the ship or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it reminded me kind of that, just less blood. But it kind of reminded me of that where he's trying to like Mickey's outmatched. I know it's Mickey, it's funny, but still, it was a good scene. It was
Hey, if you're not Sora,
yeah.
you're not good. So
He was
fodder.
Yeah, he was outmatched, but he was fighting these things off. I kept getting shot back. You're trying to use your Keyblade to block these blast back at him, so you can make your way to this key door to save everyone.
So it's kind of like if anyone has played the newer Star Wars game, it's the equivalent of when Cal's master gets him onto the ship.
Yeah,
He's blocking all these shots, but he still takes some, and then he eventually.
yeah. Except Mickey didn't die.
Yeah, because
Mickey's not allowed to die.
Hilarious.
He's basically the all-knowing.
Yeah, he's Yoda.
Yeah, and then you go into this scene, and I was so happy you didn't have to fight the 3 stages of Xehanort. They didn't do that. You knew you were fighting Xehanort at the end, but it was like the first stage. It was like that horse form
Yeah.
that he had in that first stage, and you're fighting him. And I fought as Kyrie because I thought it was funny. I almost instantly died. I'm not gonna lie, but I figured it out.
You know, the fact that they gave you the option to fight as Kyrie is admirable.
Yeah,
At least you could see what he was doing while training,
yeah.
or what she accomplished from training.
And what I love about this boss fight, and I'd have to go back and look at the other boss fights, but I'm pretty sure this is true. This was easily the most visually appealing boss fight in the entire game, DLC and regular game included, because halfway through he opens these portals, and meteors start coming in and exploding on the stage.
Cool.
And it's not like cheap looking meteors hitting the stage. It's like you have flames and shit.
So he pulls a Thanos,
Yeah, it's a great.
and it's cool.
It's fucking great. I know you weren't able to see that. Go watch that boss fight. It's just normal until he does that.
Okay.
And the boss fight still isn't hard. It's just visually cool.
Yeah.
And I love this DLC so much. I don't know if it was worth $40, but I just
why I stay away from it.
yeah. For $20, I say do it. It fixes the ending of the game. If you already thought Kingdom Hearts 3's ending was good, I'm sorry for you, but play this because it's even better. So play it.
I think one of my problems with the way they had this DLC is the fact that they charge so much for it. It's like, if this is them admitting that they messed up and them trying to right the wrong, why do we need to pay for that? Like, why do we need to shell out another $40 to get the proper ending?
Yeah, and I truthfully think it's because they weren't. I think this DLC was just because in the DLC you're just looking the whole time. Sora's like in the out of body experience looking for Kairi, and I truthfully think that was going to be the DLC, or there was going to be no DLC, and that was just going to be the premise of the next game.
It was right for the DLC to be that, just looking for Kairi, because I was
Looking
like,
for
oh,
Kairi.
they're gonna explain that time skip that they did from like the end of the game where she gets captured and goes missing to where he finds her and they're on the island together.
Yeah. And then in this particular instance, then once you find Kairi, then Sora's missing, which you kind of had to do that because they already set up that secret scene where Sora's in a random place. He doesn't realize where he is. So Sora had to disappear. It's just weird because it's like at the end of 3, Kairi disappears. Then you play the DLC, and now it's the Sora's the one. But it kind of makes sense because if you're tying it into that secret scene, you can't live happily ever after when you already have Sora in it with Riku in this random world.
So Sora disappears and you cut your game off.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they had that secret scene where they were, which it also sets up that what was it, Yozora.
I think it's Yozora.
That's a secret boss fight. Also, secret scene where he's like, "I'm trying to save. I was sent to save you, Sora." Which I don't know what it means because you can lose. There's a cutscene whether you lose or win that fight. So there's a good and bad ending.
So he's the Terminator.
Yeah. So in the good ending, you win, and Yuzora says, You must not need me yet," and then he kind of like vanishes in like a light and disappears. And then in the bad ending, you lose, and Sora's like, "Oh, what? I'm Sora. I don't lose." He doesn't actually say those words, but I feel like he said it in his head. Actually, Yuzora did say, "I don't lose." He did. That was. It was a pretty good line for somebody that's being voiced by somebody that was in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. But anyway,
it was one of the twins.
Yeah. They were like, "I don't lose," and then he like turns Sora to ice.
Ha! That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. That's actually the good ending in my heart. Oh, good, he's dead now. Roxas
just schools this kid, and he's like, "Nah, weak."
There's only one person that could take down Dylan Sprouse, and that's Roxas.
Yeah. Nah, it'd be a good way to get Ventus back into the story. It's like, oh, he's done nothing important lately.
Yeah. But I loved it. It made me excited for the next game. It really did. I would already been excited anyway because I'm a goddamn pleb. But I just I don't know. See, people were waiting for years and years for Kingdom Hearts 3, while I didn't play the Kingdom Hearts series until about 4 months before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out.
Kingdom Hearts 3 hurt my soul.
I didn't hate it to that level. I just hated the last 10 hours. It went from maybe being at the back end of my top 10 list to not being on it at all because I just couldn't get over the last 10, 15 hours of the game.
Hearts 3 may be the most disappointing game for me for like this last decade. It hurt me on so many levels.
He'll be back when the next one comes out.
Yeah, I'll be back.
He'll be back
for sure. I'm basic.
But on this DLC alone, I think it's only fair that I'm the only one that grades it because I'm the only one that played it.
Yep.
Like I said, I really enjoyed it.
Sounds cool. If I have a spare $40, I might pick it up.
Well, it'll go down. It'll go down in price. It'll go down in price eventually. I loved the DLC. I love that it fixed the ending, and I know you shouldn't have to pay for a fixed ending, but I'm happy they did it because it fixed my biggest gripe with the entire game, and that's all I can ask for.
They were wrong.
Yeah, and that's all I can ask for in my life is you fix your shit, bro.
Yeah.
And they did. And I appreciate that. I love there's also organization members that you can fight in this other thing once you beat the game. There's a little cutscene that has a couple of the Final Fantasy characters in it. And then it sends you into like the data world because they want you to fight the organization members over again. And this is your section where you can fight people at way higher difficulty. And I lost in around 2 seconds, so So I tapped out on that one.
So all you people that have like Oblivion and all that.
Yeah, I tapped out on doing that. I was like, you know what, I don't want to die playing this, and I feel like rage will consume me, so I'll pass. But that was more like added on. The DLC was Remind. Remind is what we're focusing on here, and for me, it fixed the ending. It added scenes that made the ending fucking good. It made all kinds of fixes to being able to play as other characters, being able to do all these things. But in the end, I am going to give the DLC an 8.
Ooh, high praise.
I'm going to give it an 8. Go pick it up once it drops in price. The only thing keeping it from being a 9 is it's $40 when it should be $20. But that is my review of Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. That was our review of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and that is the podcast for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back hopefully weekly, whether there's no game reviews. Maybe we'll do some retrospectives. Maybe for older games, or we will try to. We'll try to do as many new games as we can, and then if none of that happens, we always have the news, the weekly news to bring you. That's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will talk to you next time, hopefully with an actual podcast name. Like I said, it should be in the title because it's not going to be released until there's a podcast name. Bye, guys.